Hi, Iostix here. I am a professional FPS coach and former professional coach for Overwatch League organizations like the New York Excelsior and the Boston Uprising, with now more than 5 years of professional coaching experience under my belt, running the biggest private coaching business over at iostix.com and helping out players for free over on my Discord's Ask Stux Anything channel. Why did it take you so long to Firestrike?
So my first thought was I wanted to shield my DPS to let them get some poke damage first, but right here, like, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Don't know. I don't have a good answer for that.
Okay.
I think I was, so actually I know what it is. I think I was thinking, okay, shield DPS to let them get a little bit of ult charge, and then, like, I guess now that I think about it, I have this habit of, like, whenever I drop my shield, I want to back to cover, and so I think I said to myself, like, get to cover first, and then actually, can you back up like 5 seconds? Yeah, let me watch this again, and I can tell you what happened. I don't know why I thought I needed to be in cover first. I think that's what it was. Is I wanted to be further to, like, hugging this wall.
Mm-hmm.
But there's not actually, like, any threat to me. I guess I was expecting their DPS to come up quickly, like following their Reinhardt, which they didn't really end up doing.
Okay, so your main carry potential as Reinhardt comes from where? How do Reinhardts carry games?
They can build their ults really fast and have a really big impact on the fight, and also deal out a lot of damage very quickly.
Very good. So they're ultimate.
And they also they can also take. They're very good at taking space.
Exactly. So they're good at like snowballing. Exactly. So the main win condition for you is your ultimate. That's like the main differentiating factor. How quick can we get her ultimate? How soon can we use it? How effective is the ultimate? How consistently does that ultimate end up winning us games? If we can get her ultimate every minute, use it within 5 seconds, and get a team fight win off of every single ultimate we get, easy. You know, you'll climb very quickly. So our main source of ult charge, of course, is swinging at people and Firestrike. Okay? Yeah. So because of that, there's no reason for us to hold onto our Firestrike. Of course, that's not entirely true, right? Sometimes we don't want to Firestrike because maybe it opens us up to getting shattered, or we're low HP and we need to stay alive or whatever. But generally speaking, if we can, we want to Firestrike on cooldown, okay? The most important part to realize is that Firestrike is very easy to dodge. It's not particularly fast. So the only way to land it consistently at a high level is to throw it. I'm sorry?
You throw it at big targets or slow targets.
No, not quite, actually. So you can
throw it into
you can do that. The most consistent way to hit it is by throwing it at corners. So if right here, for example, right, you throw it at the corner. Any enemies that run around that corner once it arrives are going to get hit by it without being able to react. You know, it just hits them immediately. And corners are kind of hotspots. If you could create a heat map of player positions, the hotspots would be at the corners. Like right here would be a big hotspot. People usually don't spend a lot of time like out in the open. And this hot spottiness gets even more emphasized as you get to higher ratings, okay? So throwing it at a corner just has a like percentage-based higher chance of actually hitting something, okay? And also, it usually hits multiple people, you know, because at corners, people tend to kind of stack a little bit, you know? So one person is peeking like this, some person is a little bit further back peeking like this, so we can hit multiple people, okay? So right here, what you want to do is your Firestrike is available. You saw the enemies coming. You know that they'll turn the corner at any time. You already want to throw your Firestrike so that by the time it arrives, that's when the enemies are going to run around. And the great thing is that the collision hitbox and what are the terms? Like the
visual and the size of it in the collision hitbox?
No, okay, so the hitbox that's used to detect collisions with the environment is smaller than the one that detects collision with enemies. Which
Oh,
basically
okay.
means if your crosshair is perfectly at this corner and your fire strike, it's going to pass this corner, right? Even though
Sure. Yeah,
half
yeah,
the
yeah, yeah,
fire
yeah.
strike goes through the corner, it's not going to get blocked. So you can actually hit people with your fire strike. Like right now, we can't see this Baptiste at all, but if you
But
fire
the fire
strike the
strike would
corner,
hit
it's
him.
still going to hit. So you can
Yeah, yeah.
hit people that are hiding in cover. Okay? Whether that makes sense from a game design standpoint is a philosophical question, but
We
it's
don't ask.
something that you need to abuse constantly. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
Because people love to stand close to corner and feel safe, and then a fire strike comes around and they're dead. Okay?
Yep.
So
Yep. And I
corners
think I
are
do
your
this in
friend.
some of my games, but not consistently.
It needs to happen consistently. We want to use it on cooldown. We want to throw it at corners. That's how we get our fire strikes as quickly as possible. Now, there's another thing we need to talk about, and I can already tell you, we're covering so many fundamentals. We're going to look at like 3 minutes of gameplay max.
Let's do it.
The next one is shield management, or what the purpose behind your shield is. So, in I don't know if it was in the, I don't think it was in the forum, but you mentioned earlier that you like one of the win conditions is, you know, also to kind of enable your team. Like you wanted to shield here to allow your team to fire shots, right?
Mm-hmm.
That is something you need to get out of your head very quickly. So your shield does not actually become a team resource until you start scrimming with a team, which isn't going to happen for a very long time. In solo queue, your shield is your own personal resource, because what your shield allows you to do is play aggressively, right? So, I mean, very obvious, if you don't have your shield up, you probably don't want to run into the enemy main tank and swing, because like you don't have a shield that can guide you back to safety. But if you have a full shield, you can swing at the enemy right here, and if you take some damage, you just hold your shield, you walk back, you're probably going to be fine. Okay.
Yeah.
So
it's funny. You want to know where that behavior is learned from?
Unranked 2GM,
like
or scrims.
Yep.
Oh yeah, okay,
yep.
Classic.
Unranked 2GM.
Yeah, do not bother with shielding other people. If they can use your shield, of course, right? It's like your shield. It's like collateral damage blocking, or whatever you want to call it. It's going to block damage for your teammates, and they can benefit from it, but it doesn't guide your decision making, right? Gotcha. You want to maximize the individual value you get out of it. Yeah?
Yeah. And also just another comment, and something that we haven't like talked about yet, because I have a feeling I know how you would respond to it. I when I'm playing in these games, I do not join voice chat because I have enough trouble thinking about what do I need to be doing, how do I need to be playing, that I cannot process what do my teammates need to be doing and what they think I should be doing. I cannot like do that. So I don't join voice chat typically. And if I do, I typically don't talk in it.
Well, yeah, I mean, that's the correct thing to do. I don't know what you thought my stance was.
Oh, well, that would be what I thought your stance was.
Okay, yeah, no, I mean, that is the correct stance. Yeah, it sounds kind of toxic, but the best attitude to have in these ranks is to not really treat the people you play with as like equals or like as people. Just treat them as AI, you know.
That's kind of what I do.
saves you. That's why a lot of games have actually implemented a feature to completely hide player names and replace them with character names. So you basically don't know whether you're in a bot match or not. It's really helpful.
Yeah. But like first thing I do when I log into Overwatch, / hide chat, and then don't join voice chat, because I can it's too much information for me at my current skill level.
Oh, you know, you can just disable it permanently, right?
The chat?
Yeah.
Wait, how? Wait, show me, please.
You go to options. You wait for it to load after 10 years. You go to social. And then here you have group text chat, team text chat, match text chat, general. And it's all turned off. So
Oh my gosh. Okay.
yeah,
Because
to be
I wouldn't mind seeing like my ultimate is ready. Like that's fine. But like yeah,
yeah.
match chat.
So you see ultimate is ready. You see when people go online offline. You see whispers from friends, but everything else is gone. To be fair, this setting is relatively new. I think it's like a year old. It wasn't there
Okay.
since the start of the game, so you might have missed it. But yeah, you want to deal with this, and then for voice chat, if you go to sound, you can do the same thing here, where you can just permanently disable team voice chat, match voice chat, whatever.
Oh yeah, and mine doesn't automatically join team voice chat. I turn that
Okay,
off. So
that is perfect. Okay.
yeah, because it's the game. People are also toxic as hell. So
they are. So yeah, disable text chat, disable this shit. It's going to be it's blissful. It's very nice.
yeah.
But
Okay.
yeah, so back to the gameplay part. So we were talking about shield management. Your shield is a resource that you use just for yourself. If your teammates benefit from it collaterally, that's nice. Not our main focus. So you want to be very careful, right, about using your shield too early. So you want to make sure, especially in a Reinhardt mirror, that your shield always breaks last. Okay?
Yeah.
Because the delta between both teams' shields breaking, right? If it's very big and in your favor, if there's like 5 seconds that you have where you have a shield and they don't, during that time, they need to give up a lot of space, which especially becomes important on attack, and on defense, it becomes important because if your shield lasts longer than the enemy shield, they can't mount an attack. They don't have an opening to force you to go back. So it's very important that you do not hold up your shield until it's actually necessary. One important way to think about this is not Overwatch specific. This applies to any game you play. If you want to play League, Hearthstone, fucking Yu-Gi-Oh! It doesn't matter. Any game where you have health is always a resource. If there's like a Bible of gaming mantras, health as a resource would be like in there.
Yeah, and I've played a fair amount of Hearthstone and Magic the Gathering, and I know that the most busted like aspects of those games are the things that allow you to use your health in an abusive
exactly
way.
like Hearthstone Warlock Hero Power. When I started playing the game, it didn't make any sense to me. Like, why the fuck would I want to kill myself?
No, tap is incredible.
But then you realize like who gives a shit about giving up 2 health if I fucking top deck lethal, So that's kind of something, and it applies in Overwatch as well. So your health is a resource, right? It doesn't matter if you have 500 HP or 300 HP. Losing 200 HP is better than losing 200 shield, because 200 HP, your healers can heal that up in 2 seconds. But restoring that from your shield, it forces you to drop down your shield when you might not want to, and keep it down to let it regenerate. Okay, so your shield is like the more limited resource. It's the thing you want to keep alive, basically.
Yeah.
So it is.
I will say there have been times when I've like tried to do this in my games where it's like, okay, I don't need to be using my shield right now. I'm going to use my health pool, and then I just die because I'm not paying attention to it. So it like. Yeah.
One important thing to keep in mind is we need to kind of adapt it a little for Reinhardt. Your armor is your resource. So the way that tanks
and actually I do not understand like how armor and barriers and all this like works.
Okay, I can give you a quick,
I know like barriers regenerate, but I don't understand how armor works.
Okay, it's pretty simple. Okay, so when something is white, it's normal HP, nothing special. Okay, when something is light blue, like this Symmetra or this Zarya, that's called a shield. A shield,
and those regenerate.
It regenerates on its own, right? This is usually to incentivize the character to play aggressively without being a huge burden on his supports. This Zarya can take up to 200 damage without putting any burden on the supports. That's the design behind that. Then you have dark blue, which is basically a temporary shield. So that's stuff like Lucio Ultimate. Those are called barriers. Okay.
Okay.
Not super relevant right now because Lucio is basically the only barrier we have in the game. But maybe with Overwatch 2, new characters might come out. That's a barrier. Then
Although in Overwatch 2, didn't they change everything to just overhealth?
I don't know. I'm too old to keep up with the times. Um, and then lastly, we have the two kinds of armor. You have intrinsic armor, so this is the bright orange. You also have added armor, or like buffed armor, which is dark orange. So you get that from Brigitte with her ultimate. The difference, obviously, being that dark armor cannot be healed back up, whereas the orange armor can.
Okay.
Now, the way that armor works is it used to be very simple, the calculations behind it. They no longer are. If you're interested in the details, you can read them up on the Wikipedia page. The short rundown is just it takes less damage. That's
okay.
pretty much it. But, and this is an important mechanic, it takes less damage, but it heals at the same rate. Okay?
Sure.
So
okay.
think of it like your HP, right, is like fucking pesos, and then your armor is like I don't know, fucking French francs, or like British pounds. There we go. That's like a super valuable,
yeah.
right? So, but earning 20 British pounds is much nicer than earning 20 pesos. You know, one gets you a taco, the other one gets you a fucking cruise ship or whatever. So that's very important if we apply it here, because your healers always heal the same amount. So as long as they're healing armor, they are healing up a lot of effective HP.
Yeah, they're getting more bang for their buck.
Exactly. Once your armor breaks, you're going to take a lot more damage, but their healing is going to stay the same. Okay.
Gotcha.
So that's the problem. And your armor is kind of the deciding factor when it comes to your aggression. If you have armor, you want to play aggressive. You want to use that armor. You know, you can tank a bit of damage to regenerate your shield. You can go for swings. You can go for an aggressive fire strike. You can look for a shatter. Once your armor breaks, you chill, right? The way that tanks are balanced is your hitboxes are huge compared to other characters. And to compensate for that, you have armor, right? But once your armor is gone, you're just like this Junkrat, but 4 times easier to hit. So you're actually a tank without armor is way more squishy than a DPS character. Okay?
That is like one of the most helpful things, like, because I have always struggled with when to go aggressive, when to play back, when to go aggressive, when to play back. And that seems like a really clear like delineator of
99% of the time. That's like the main way you evaluate whether your aggression was good. You know, if you died, you need to ask yourself what you did. You know, like so many people die because they lose their armor and they're like, I need like one extra, you know, one extra fire, one extra swing isn't going to hurt, and then they die. You know, and it's kind of a trap because you can feel very tanky while you have armor, especially while you get healed. You know, this happens very often where if you have a Zenyatta and he puts his Harmony Orb on you, while you have armor, you're like an unkillable fucking machine, you know? But then, and you feel like really strong, but then your armor, it dips below 0 for just a moment, and all of a sudden you take the full force of the damage. All of a sudden, the Harmony Orb is like half as effective because it's only healing up health, and you just get popped out of nowhere, right?
Yeah.
So that's why it's very important to basically just pretend that the white part of your HP doesn't exist. It's just a buffer. It's just a safety net to catch you. Your gameplay revolves around how much armor you have.
I have literally never had that explained in any content or like by anyone. That is one of the most helpful things I've ever heard.
I am glad to be helpful. It's very depressing because we've looked at like maybe 13 seconds of gameplay so far, you know? This is very interactive. Also, we do, unfortunately, normally I don't mind going into a little bit of overtime with the sessions. I do have a session after this one, so I do need to end on time today, unfortunately.
Oh, that's fine.
German punctuality and all that. Okay.
No, I try to be punctual in my own life, so I can appreciate that.
That is commendable. So right here, if we look at the defense, so this is like a little bit awkward because they sim TP. It's kind of a cheesy strat. The main way, like the best way to think about it, is that like the sim TP is good, the sim is not. So even after the teleport, their comp is just going to be weaker than yours most of the time. So you decide to charge in. Why is that a bad decision?
So in the moment, I was like, I gotta get there. Like, everything's happening on point. I gotta get the point. But it's a bad decision because it opens me up to a lot of damage, and it also doesn't protect my team because they also need to get there. At least that would be the first way I would understand that.
Yeah. So again, we don't really give a shit about our team. They can figure out what they want to do themselves. The important
and it also,
part here.
I was gonna say this also relinquishes a lot of control of my character momentarily.
Exactly. You don't want to do that ever. Like stuns and like crowd control effects in games in general are balanced very fucking carefully. Because losing control of a character can be massive. Okay. So the problem is, I think the reason you charged is because for some reason you felt like you were under a lot of time pressure.
I felt like if I don't get the point immediately, everything is going to go to hell in a handbasket.
Okay.
That's another thing I like continually have to remind myself is you have a fair amount of time, like, and you can give up a tick even if you need to.
You can give up 2 ticks. Like ticks are a luxury, you know.
Yeah.
It doesn't really matter if they get 1 or 2 ticks as long as they don't capture the point. If they already have 2 ticks, then of course you need to play a little bit faster, but it's like a consolation prize for them, you know, but you shouldn't play around them. That's a little bit too greedy. But yeah, so the problem is that with the charge, like, again, your main resource is your armor, and your armor would allow you to play pretty aggressively. You can push on the point, go for a few swings, probably not die instantly. But look, you go for the pin, and your armor is already almost all gone. And what's happening is you are, as you can see, eating up a lot of resources from your team, you know? As a tank, you want to make the game easier for your team, not more difficult. Okay, so minimizing the amount of resources you need is good. And right here, this charge eats up a lot of resources, but doesn't get you anything. Except put you into a position where you'll eat even more resources. So you have fucking Ana pocketing you,
and you have nade, like, which is actually
exactly. You have like you're lucky that her nade at least also hit the Doomfist. Otherwise, you would have taken it yourself. She's pocketing you. Mercy is pocketing you. So unless
Zarya's
you just
giving me the bubble,
Zarya's you're eating so many. Everything is gone. Everything is gone. You know, in high elo, this is disastrous. You know. Yeah. They haven't even done anything yet, the enemy team.
No,
you know, and already. So right here you're alive because again healing up armor is so fucking effective. You're unkillable. Nobody touches you. But at what cost? You know, your Mercy died. Something is telling me that when Mercy died, Ana probably wasn't looking at her. You know, because look who she's looking at while she died.
She has to.
Okay, I don't know what the fuck happened here, but if you don't take up as many resources, if you just chill here, hold up your shield, maybe go for a few swings if they try to get close, much less resource intensive, basically accomplishes the same thing, and your Mercy probably wouldn't be dead.
Lives. Yeah.
Okay.
And that's another thing that I am like continually trying to work on, and one of the things I like about Overwatch 2 is they've like implemented sound cues. For, like when your teammates die. Like I am terrible about realizing when my teammates die.
Yeah, that's like actually a pretty controversial addition because some people are saying that like tracking the kill feed is like a core skill and this takes it away. Again, like it's a dumb reason, you know. But yeah, definitely something good to have, you know. Okay, unfortunately, as I said earlier, I do need to end on time. I know this is a little bit abrupt, and I hate doing this more than anything.
That's all right.
But I do need to...
I have... Well, I was going to say, this has benefited me, like, already very much. And so I hope to get a few more games in, and I will most likely schedule some more sessions because I really enjoyed this and found it very helpful. So